the jury man has been hard working, work at cement factory. During 3 children come up them big picnic and right now I get grand picnic, 3 grand picnic. Yeah. You know, like problem, you just can't work to house. Cook, washing everything like everything. You know, make no problem, you know. Anything it all has in there, as a father, man, and live good with it. Yes.
I'm going to leave you, Peter. What are you going to leave me? Peter. Peter, I'm going to leave you. What are you going to leave me, Peter? They're going to pin you by the trouble, people.
Welcome back to MyView TV, the people's platform, the home of undiluted news, reviews, updates, and your daily dose of entertainment. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, like, share, and subscribe.
I don't bring nobody forward in your cheer for me. Everything what you see up my natural talent. Man, me tell you something. You see, when you know what to please the audience with, it's simple, me.
Wagwan my people, hope everybody doing okay, hope everybody doing alright. So I have a message for somebody right now. You understand? And listen good. Me say, me have a message to somebody. Me never say, God give me the message, give nobody in a can. Nobody never come bright themselves with me and say, my view, why God I give you my message? Why God can't give me the message himself? Me say, me have a message for you. Get pen and get paper and write down. Follow after me. I am moving into a season of blessing. I know everything is always working out for me. I have prepared and I am ready to receive my miracles manifesting quickly. Good things are coming to me very soon. Remember me telling you, write it down and say it for yourself. You understand? That is my message to you, and surely you. Anyway, now people, whole heap of things still are going on in the news. So I continue from which part I left off this morning. And then I set up picnic from down at Denham Town. I grew up without a father. Let me tell you now that go. And Denham Town man who reportedly had been abducted from his home was found dead with gunshot wound in an open lot off Spanish Town Road in Kingston on Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as 45-year-old Fitzroy Davidson, otherwise called Peter, not P-Eater. Him name Peter, people. I'm telling you what I know. When I come for make up story. Report reaching our news team that on Wednesday night, Davidson was at home on Little King Street in Denham Town when gunmen invaded the home and abducted him. Then just kick off the door and take him. You understand? A search for Davidson was then launched by family members. They never tell the police them, people, you understand? They never tell the police them when it just happen. And when problem reach them, I see them run Ghana station. So the video where you see me start the review with, I'm father that talk about him, you understand? Him father make you know, so yo, him a one good man, him this and him that and him re. But nobody now come tell you if him body no. Me I tell you the truth, so you wagwan. Make I move on with the news. The police has charged a 26-year-old man for the July 2021 gun attack on Redlands Road, St. Andrew, that left 3 people dead and 4 others injured. Damian Taylor, otherwise called Timon, a laborer of Woodrow Street, Kingston 12, was on Tuesday charged with murder, wounded with intent, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammo. The charge, man. He was charged after being pointed out during an identification parade and after being interviewed. His court date is being finalized. The attack happened on the night of Sunday, July 25th, 2021. The police reported that about 7:50 p.m. a group of persons were standing along the roadway when Taylor and 2 other men came up and opened fire. I remember good enough people, they never did for the pandemic, they understand how they still under curfew, but that different, man, I talk about that. 7 persons were hit, 3 fatally. The deceased were later identified as 27-year-old Roshane White, otherwise called Barbara, 29-year-old Kimani White, otherwise called Shella, both of Parkland, St. Andrew, and 27-year-old Alex Henry, otherwise called Pelpa, a laborer of Red Hills Road, also in the parish. Following investigation, Taylor was arrested. He was later charged. Slap on the old criminal boy. And speaking of another little boy we get charged, let me tell you about him. A 23-year-old gunman, aka Chef, was charged with use of prohibited weapon to commit a murder and possession of prohibited weapon and ammo after he allegedly shot a man several times on James Street in Kingston on Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. Charge is 23-year-old Javon Brown of Texas Lane in Kingston. Remember me giving all of this boy a story already? But Some other little information in there on the phone and some other little killings where I'm going with. Them will not hear about now. So, him they killed Daniel Smith. Let me tell you about Daniel. Report reaching our news team that Daniel Smith was among a group of persons standing on the roadway when Brown, who was armed with a handgun, shot him multiple times right in front of people. You understand? Remember good. Him not afraid of people. Smith was taken to the hospital. Dead. On Tuesday, February 7th, Brown was arrested and charged after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. Anyway, we can move on. More to get on the news. A man said to be mentally challenged who reportedly stabbed another man in St. Catherine in September was yesterday deemed fit to play. Kill him dead, him did not get pen of paper. You understand? One try use the mad card. No. It now work no more. The ruling was made in the case against 44-year-old Marlon Henry in the St. Catherine Parish Court by Justice Desiree Hallahay. When asked by the judge if he had legal representative, Henry, a laborer of Point Hill in the parish, said no. That's why me always tell you, all laborers are supposed to get slap point. See it for yourself, them now fling the bucket pan the side. Them a fling shot and stab. And I use all shovel like man na head. I don't think that them a go on the people. For the people them who knew and never they run when we read the news at them time there. And for the people them want a refresher, let me tell you what go on now. It has been alleged that on September 29, 2022, the complainant was accompanied by a relative on a visit to see a woman. Henry allegedly attacked the man, stabbed him repeatedly. Yes, people repeatedly. Holy pasta. The injured man was taken to the hospital and a report was subsequently made to the police. Following an investigation, he was arrested and later charged. The police never had a chance to go for him and slap him, and they never do that. Anyway, now people, I'm going to link up my friend Brian because we know the supposed to wonder where Brian been up to these days with the Clansman case. Let me give you one little update.
The witness, a former gangster, testified how he used 3 phones to secretly record conversations he had with the defendants while they were detained. Justice Sykes questioned the absence of records from the facilities where the defendants were detained. He noted that the Crown is seemingly relying only on the statements of its witness. He said the evidence could have been advanced from the telephone service providers to corroborate the assertions of the witness. Meanwhile, Justice Sykes examined a 69-page long transcript of one of the audio recordings. He said there's nothing to suggest any gaps in the conversation. He said the document is consistent, which suggests the call recorder application used was functioning properly at the time. Earlier in the trial, the question was raised about the effectiveness of the recording application, which was downloaded by the witness. Justice Sykes highlighted a conversation between the former gangster and the defendants, Jason Brown and Stephanie Christie. In the recording, Brown was heard saying the gang should focus on the youth instead of old members who are already corrupted. From the recording, Brown appeared frustrated with the gangsters who were splitting up the gang. Justice Sykes noted that the Crown is relying heavily on the recordings to prove that Brown is part of the criminal organization. All other counts against Brown have been dismissed. Justice Sykes noted that the conversations would not be clear to an outsider. He said that one would have to have had prior knowledge to be participating in a meaningful way. He added that only an insider would know certain details that were mentioned. He said this somehow shows a level of connection or membership of a group. He was analyzing a conversation between the former gangster turned state witness and the defendants Jason Brown and Stephanie Christie. The former gangster has never seen Brown in person but testified how they had several lengthy conversations over the phone. Justice Sykes said the nature of the conversations wouldn't be possible if the defendant wasn't a member of the alleged criminal gang. Brown is already serving a life sentence after being convicted in 2012 for a murder that happened in 2005. The witness identified a voice on one of the recordings to be that of Brown, who he only knew as Citypuss. Justice Sykes said if the court is to believe the witness, then his evidence would show that he had prior knowledge of the voice he identified, which would meet the legal standard of voice identification. He said a question to be answered is whether the voice identification was accurate or not. He further questioned if other evidence in the case is sufficient to prove that Jason Brown is Citypuss. A retired police officer previously testified that he visited Brown in prison and he answered to the name Citypuss. The officer positively identified Brown in court. The only count on the indictment that remains for Brown is that of being part of a criminal organization. Justice Sykes noted that there's nothing from Brown to counter the witness's claims, as Brown chose to remain silent in his defense. Justice Sykes said the evidence concerning Brown is a classic case of burden and standard of proof. He said further assessment will be done to determine if the Crown's theory was advanced. Justice Sykes will continue his summation on Thursday morning